mentioned.
By the way, I think that's a great question for an allergist who has had all kinds of experience with asthma medicines, and there's a lot more out there for that.
So yeah, we've done a lot of switching in patients who are intolerant of either IL-4 receptor alpha targeting drugs or even anti-IL-5 or IL-5 receptor, less so with IG. We've done a lot of switching between dupilumab and tezepelumab in patients who couldn't tolerate dupilumab for whatever reason. And I would say that we are not, there are many patients who don't tolerate one who will tolerate the other just fine. So we've had good experiences with that. With, I would say, generally persistent control of symptoms after making the switch. There's some exceptions to that. I've had patients who, it's interesting, I think as we get more sort of predictive biomarkers for specific drugs, maybe in the coming years, and we're really improving in this area, I think there will hopefully be something identified where we can, pick out which patient is sort of the best candidate for which specific biologic. We're not there yet, but I will say that there are patients that I've put onto tezepelumab who have asthma and nasal polyps that don't do as well as I would expect, and then vice versa, where we'll see some patients that I thought would be a good candidate for dupilumab, but we switch them to tezepelumab and they do really well. So I think for the most part, most patients do well on both, which is why we don't really have an answer to this question yet. But there's some variability in response in my personal clinical practice, not any big study.
Okay, so I think we're down. We don't have much time, so this will probably be our last question. In your view, does the epithelial dysfunction cause the problem, or is it a consequence of the inflammation in patients with nasal polyp? I'll just open it up to the panel. Do you think it's the cause, or do you think it's a consequence of the inflammation?
I think it's probably both. As we're finding out with the epithelium, we thought it was just like a passive barrier, but we're finding that it's very active actually, and it's communicating quite a bit with the adaptive immune system. And as Dr. Buchheit showed with our study, that these alarmins can be responsible for differentiation of these multipotent progenitor cells that can then proceed to be the memory cells that then cause more downstream side effects. So the epithelium definitely is playing a very active role, and but as a result, unfortunately, it's also the victim of the inflammation. So it's almost like collateral damage, but it is both we're finding. So I'd love to hear what my co-panelists think.
You have 30 seconds.
Okay.
I think the answer is yes.
Katie, anything to add?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that we like to think of things in these like really top-down, kind of organized, strategic models, and that is not the case. These are all these mediators are talking to each other. The cells are all having impacts that I think we haven't even scratched the surface. There's so much we don't understand. So this is a really complicated system. We like to simplify things into cute little charts, but it's a lot more than that.
Yeah, and I want to thank the audience and the virtual viewers as well for submitting a lot of questions. There were a lot more questions that got submitted. I'm sorry we couldn't answer all of them, but our time is up. So I think now we have to figure out who won. So who is the winner?
Oh, wow.
Hey, you got the 250.
Oh,
Really?
Where'd you
How
get
did you
the
get the
250?
50?
I don't know.
50. Oh,
They're
the last
The
question was.
last
Oh my God!
Oh. So Katie gets this plaque.
Yeah.
It's a champion and conqueror
Wow.
of CRS with nasal polyp pure pressure event.
Nice.
So congratulations.
Wow, thank you so much.
All right, and I think that's it. All right, thank you. Thank you for coming, and I hope you enjoyed the program.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh.